Hello guys and welcome. I hope that you're having a good day or good morning or good evening. My name is I play 4K, AK, I play AK, AK, I play 16K or UHD King. During this video today, I'm going to show you Call of Duty Warzone running on a single Titan RTX video card and the old school Xeon E5-2697 V2 CPU that's going to be slightly overclocked to the maximum possible overclock that is possible on this enterprise CPU, and the Titan RTX will be overclocked as well through the software. During this video I'm going to show you 4K resolution, about 3 different presets, and I'm going to share a lot of useful and valuable tips for you if you're a beginner and you're building your first computer and the Call of Duty Warzone is your game. You're going to learn a lot of information today through the professional PC overclocker, PC hardware enthusiast, system engineer, graphic designer, and 3D artist. Okay, so I connected this my PC to one of my 4K resolution screens, and let's go ahead and have a look. We're going to start with the maximum possible preset. FPS will be unlocked to let me show it to 300 FPS maximum, as you can see, but we will never reach that on the Titan RTX video card running 4K resolution, and there is a possibility that there is no such a video card will reach 300 FPS in Call of Duty Warzone at 4K resolution. Okay, and the reason why I will explain to you in a second during this video. So pretty much, as you can see, this is how we're going to go. Everything will be maximum possible visuals. Okay. Here we go. When you're running ray tracing, DirectX ray tracing, the AI anti-aliasing will be SMA T2X, which is the maximum possible anti-aliasing, and you cannot switch it. This is the requirements. Okay, so this is how we're going to go ahead and play it. Let's go ahead and start the game, and I will explain to you during this video a lot of great information. You want to keep your eye, guys, at the at the left top corner. The stats updated every second, self-explanatory. Milliseconds latency delay we want to keep as low as possible, and for the best possible experience. And the FPS, frames per second, we want to keep as high as possible. Okay. And then you can see the utilization of the components such as CPU cores, individual CPU cores, then overall CPU utilization, then GPU core, GPU utilization, overall GPU utilization, temperatures, frequencies, and VRAM utilization, VRAM frequency, system RAM utilization. Today I'm using the quad channel DDR3 because the CPU only runs with DDR3, and it's going to be 1866 megahertz, crucial Ballistix CL9, but it's unstable on this particular CPU, and the only stable frequency without any second of the blue screen will be 1130 megahertz. Okay, but I'm running still CL9. This is the maximum possible stable frequency for the DDR3, running quad channel, which is 256-bit versus the dual channel, which is 128-bit. So what's the difference is this DDR3 in quad channel is fast as DDR4, 2166 megahertz CL18. Keep that in mind. Okay, but pretty much you would assume that quad channel has 2 times performance versus the dual channel. It's not the case. It's going to be only like 1.5 times versus the bandwidth. Keep that in mind in reality, but in theory, yeah, it should be 2 times. Okay, look at this. We have all the information at the left top corner, 90 FPS, above 90 FPS. I'm recording this video today with NVIDIA Shadowplay. It's recording on the same computer, so it's consuming some resources of my video card. So go ahead and add 4 FPS to the FPS counter without the recording. So automatically add every second 4 FPS to find out how much it will be without the recording. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. As again, the purpose of this video is not the gameplay. The purpose of this video will be the benchmark, the demonstration of the performance. Keep that in mind as well. Jesus, I gotta pick up some guns.
Search the building for weapons.
We better pick it up some guns, guys. So pretty much it looks like a PUBG kind of strategic game. As you can see, you jump out, you pick up some guns, and start rocking. That guy's running behind me, huh? He wants some. Alright. Buddy, you want some? And look at him. He's using... Jesus, he's using some... Come on, buddy. Guys, my wireless mouse, the battery is almost dead. Let me get the gun. I'm sitting at the distance trying not to pick up some noise. Oh my god. Alright, we gotta run, guys. We gotta run. So as you can see, this is like a toxic here. And you don't want to be inside of this toxic, otherwise you're going to be dead. So you don't want to be dead. You want to be alive. Guys, you want to keep your eye at the left top corners. Again, it's kind of hard for me to play and keep an eye and commenting in real time. I'm commenting in real time. But anyways, as you can see, the FPS is below 100 FPS. The maximum possible visuals when the Titan RTX is additionally overclocked by 100 megahertz on the GPU and 2000 megahertz additional on the VRAM. So output out of my VRAM will be not 14,000 megahertz but will be 16,000 megahertz. The GPU utilization is it's not bad, 96%. It's not so bad, guys. So I would say it's almost great, because 97% GPU utilization, I call it great, and excellent 99% and above, or amazing. Keep that in mind. Not bad, but 80, 85, above 80 FPS average, sometimes to 70, but as again, you gotta add 3 FPS, 3-4 FPS at least. I don't think so, buddy. Okay. VRAM utilization above 10,000 megabytes, as you can see, almost 14,000 megabytes. So video cards with the 11 gigabytes or 10 gigabytes of frame buffer on your video cards is not going to be good enough to play this game at 4K resolution. It could load it, but it's going to offload a lot of data from the VRAM into the system RAM. Keep that in mind. The game is amazing, comes for free, and if you like to play online games that is competitive, where you can compete a lot, you're going to enjoy this game, and it comes for free. As again, this is everything what you need. Especially if you're a Call of Duty fan, you probably everything what you need right now for the PC. So average, I would say above 80 FPS, not bad. And the GPU utilization is above 90%. But it's running DirectX 12 API, so that means that we cannot add the SLI. We cannot add the secondary video card and connect them through the SLI bridge and run 2 of the video cards to boost up our FPS. Because DirectX 12 API doesn't support SLI like DirectX 9 or DirectX 10 or DirectX 11 APIs. Keep that in mind. So it's not possible to use 2 video cards in SLI. Otherwise it would boost up a lot of performance, because the GPU utilization on a single video card is above 90. That means that we're going to take advantage immediately of the secondary video card. And if the secondary video card in SLI will give us performance boost in above 90% per GPU, that means that we can receive up to 1.8 times at least boost in terms of our FPS. But as again, it's not going to be possible because DirectX 12 API. Hopefully guys, it makes sense to you. Come on, they're shooting from all the directions now. There's a guy right here. Who's that? And there's another guy right there. Alright,
Extraction's inbound.
so you saw the FPS. When you're going to run the Titan RTX stock, pretty much just go ahead and so it's going to be 3-4 FPS less. So pretty much the boost is like 10%, even higher than that, like 5 FPS less. Keep that in mind. So I overclocked my Titan RTX today with the software, and I'm using the dual fan design, NVIDIA design solution, and NVIDIA thermal compound paste on it, so it's completely stock, but it was overclocked through the MSI afterburner. So you saw the GPU utilization was below 35%. That means that we even don't need the 12 core 12 threads CPU here. We can go up below 12 core 12 threads CPU, and you know, when your overall CPU utilization right here, as you can see at this, I'm putting my mouse cursor right here, 2518. When your overall CPU utilization is below 90%, that means that you don't need additional threads or additional cores. You're not going to benefit it in a game. But when it's above 90% in the gameplay, when you're playing gameplay and you can see your CPU utilization, overall CPU utilization reaching above 90%, that means that you better add at least 2 threads to your CPU, which through the hyper-threading technology will be great, or the best way will be the physical cores, because otherwise there is a possibility that your driver is limiting you in terms of the FPS, and by adding additional physical cores can boost up your FPS. Hopefully guys this makes sense. So let's go ahead and turn down the ray tracing. So it's going to be maximum possible visuals, but ray tracing will be off. And I'm going to turn on the anti-aliasing. We're going to see if we can reach the 120 FPS. And after that, I'm going to show you completely everything at low possible visuals. A lot of my UG King's YouTube subscribers was asking for it, so I'm going to go ahead and bench it at everything at lowest just in case. But of course, you don't want to play 4K resolution and playing it at low. This is nonsense. But let's say if there's scenario, so you want to play 4K resolution and play at lowest possible. So I turn down the ray tracing, and I'm going to turn on the anti-aliasing. Let's go ahead and enable that. So this is how we're going to rock. Okay. Otherwise, maximum possible visuals. Let me go ahead and apply that. We're going to reload the map, and we're going to keep going. So we lowered, guys, our visual presets. That means that right now we're going to start using more of our CPU and less of our GPU, and you're going to see it at the left top corner when the GPU utilization will be probably lower than the 96% in the game, and the overall CPU utilization will kind of go up a little bit, not too much though, but a little bit. GPU utilization is still very well utilized, as you can see, and yeah, we pretty much utilizing 97% of our GPU, which is great, and 99% is amazing, excellent. So pretty much we almost wasting 0 in terms of our NVIDIA shader cores on our GPU, which is exactly what we want. We want to have as less cores as idle as possible. We increased in terms of our FPS, as you can see, by about 10 FPS. Not bad, not bad. Okay, and this is just by turning down the ray tracing and turning down the anti-aliasing. But still below 100 FPS. But as again, this is an old school CPU. The newer school CPUs will deliver higher FPS, as I just explained it to you a couple seconds ago. So keep that in mind.
Using your chute lets you glide away from everyone else, but you'll get on the ground late.
Well, actually above 100. Actually, yeah. Actually, we increased almost by 20 FPS over here. This is not bad at all. Already have an enemy try to bring us down, but nobody. I just warm up a little bit though, not too much, but a little bit. Let's go ahead and pick up some guns. Come on, are you kidding me? Okay.
The upper right part of the HUD shows how many enemies remain.
Yeah, I'm losing the signal. My battery in my mouse is pretty weak, as you saw. My movements was kind of slappy. I was holding, sometimes freezing at some, and I was just trying to dodge it. Gotta replace the battery. But anyways, yeah, sometimes getting to 90. So you gotta add the at least 3 FPS, guys, without the NVIDIA Shadow Play recording. And still a great, but as you saw, 94%. We're still getting lower GPU utilization though. Just like I told you, yep, we're still getting that. So from 96 it's just 94 by 2%. And a little bit higher, 34% of our CPU utilization. So just like I told you guys, the lower visuals requires the higher CPU cores. And the higher visuals stressing more of our GPU. And this is exactly what we want to do, because we want to take advantage of the GPU stress versus the CPU stress, because this is how we can gain maximum FPS. So I would say the RTX 3090 will be stressing here about below 90% on our GPU right now. So NVIDIA is
Enemy soldier incoming.
not lazy, but I'm not sure if it's NVIDIA or just regulators that told the NVIDIA try not to stress completely GPUs at 100% for the PC gamers at 4K, 1080p and 1440p, because it's a lot of electricity, and you know, we're all about the nature, we want to save the areas and stuff like that. There is a possibility, because as again NVIDIA is a green company, California company, there is a possibility the regulators told the NVIDIA, you know, try to write your drivers so you're not gonna consume the maximum energy with your video cards. Try to kind of slow it down if the user doesn't have top of the line video cards, to save him on the bill and to save the errors. There is a possibility. I don't think that NVIDIA engineers, software engineers are lazy. They're very talented folks out there, and I'm pretty sure they know how to write the drivers to stress completely 99% at any kind of scenarios. But as again, at 1440p the stress will be less than 96%. It will be like 1440p will be below 90%, and 1080p will be like at 70% on the Titan RTX video card. And that means that RTX 3090, the Ampere GPU architecture video card, will be stressing even less than that, because it's more powerful video card and has more shader cores. And yeah, so at RTX 3090 over here, you're going to probably lose about 10% of your shader cores. That's why you want to be strategic. If you're playing games at 4K resolution, probably you want to get yourself RTX 3080. Do not buy yourself RTX 3090, because you're going to waste a lot of shader cores. And if you're playing 1440p or 1080p, do not even get yourself RTX 3080 or RTX 2080 Ti or Titan RTX, because you're going to waste a lot of shader cores. They're going to be at idling, and it doesn't matter what kind of video card you have in your case. You know, you can show it to the body for 5 minutes and be proud of it, but in terms of the performance, when you're going to close that case, you're not going to gain a benefit. Keep that in mind, and it's all about to gain some benefits. So you got to be strategic, guys. Titan RTX video card and RTX 3090 video card is not good for 4K resolution at all, and it's not good for 8K resolution as well, because it's not powerful enough for the 8K resolution completely to give you the comfortable gameplay experience. Keep that in mind. But this is the case when you're playing 8K resolution and above. You want to get 2 Titan RTXs in SLI, or you want to get 2 RTX 3090 video cards in SLI. But as again, if the API that your favorite games are using is not DirectX 12, because DirectX 12 API by Microsoft is not going to utilize SLI. It doesn't work with SLI like DirectX 9, 10 and 11 APIs. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. As we saw, we improve in terms of our FPS. We're almost all the time above 85 FPS, and GPU utilization was a couple percent below than it was with the ray tracing. Right now I'm going to go ahead and make the presets, visual presets, completely low, and you're going to see that we're going to lower the GPU utilization, and we're going to waste a lot of NVIDIA shader cores on our GPU, in our case TU102 during GPU architecture, in our Titan RTX video card, and CPU utilization will grow, probably even above 35% when I'm going to create everything at lowest possible settings. You need more CPU cores when you're running pretty weak, guys, resolutions such as 1080p or even below 1080p. This is going to be the case when you're going to compensate your performance with CPU cores. This is how the NVIDIA drivers and Windows operating system performs, especially Windows 10. So the AI of that artificial intelligence on that Windows operating system thinks, okay, he has a lot of CPU, he doesn't have a lot of video cards, shader cores. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize his CPU to try to boost it up his FPS. But when you boosting up the FPS through the CPU, as again, it's a bad idea because you're losing a lot of money. You better boost it up with the video cards, better video cards. This is going to be a cheaper approach. Boosting up your FPS through the CPU or through the system RAM is very bad approach unless you want to have everything maxed out, you don't care about the budget, you want to have the maximum possible system today. This means that you want to get everything the best. First you want to get the video card the best, then get the best CPU and get the best system RAM. But when I see when people buying the best CPU and the best system RAM and they kind of buying middle grade video card and they playing games on it, guys, this is completely waste of money, and they're completely gamers, completely waste of money. You want to be strategic, focus on the video card first and then CPU and system RAM. Alright, hopefully guys this makes sense. The higher frequency on your CPU is much better for PC games than cores as well. Okay, so you're gonna see when I'm going to test it on my PC gaming rack, which is i9-9900K overclocked at 5.3 gigahertz, because this is, as again, my workstation. I'm using this workstation as rendering firm to render 8K resolution to 8K resolution, and doing the 3D rendering using 3ds Max that can utilize above 100 cores on your CPU. So it's completely utilizing all the 24 cores at 100%, and this is exactly when I'm taking the advantage, when I'm getting that benefit. So here we go. Let me show you advanced. Here we go. So there's advanced. 300 FPS unlocked for those who's curious. So we're not going to even reach that. So right now we're gonna go completely everything low, and I'm gonna reboot it and try to play it like that. Here we go. Wow, probably need to drink some water. I already recorded 2 more videos, guys. I'm coming to I Play 4K, great 16K resolution videos. You don't want to miss it out. On this Titan RTX, when I use my 8K resolution screen plus the NVIDIA DSR, so it was rendering in 16K resolution physically and then was downscaling to 8K resolution. Wow, we still was playing with the Filmic SMA T2X. Alright. Okay, let me go ahead and apply that. Everything at the minimum. Okay, let's go ahead and have a look, shall we, guys? So if I would play, if this is my game and I'm playing 4K resolution, then RTX 2080 Ti is not going to be good enough because our VRAM utilization, as you saw, and RTX 3080 is not going to be good enough because, as again, VRAM utilization. We need something with the higher VRAM capacity. So I would probably go with Titan RTX. And pick it up used like new on the eBay when it's going to go like $600, $650. It's going to be in the end of 2021. Titan RTX will cost $650. because the VRAM utilization was above the 11 gigabyte of the RTX 2080 Ti and above of the capacity of the RTX 3080. And the case when you overloading your VRAM, the driver, the NVIDIA driver, can still offload some data into the system RAM, but this is the case when you're going to lose a lot of FPS and you don't want to do it. You want to make sure that you have a lot of VRAM capacity, and it's still you still have a little bit to go of your VRAM capacity on your video card versus the load in the gameplay. Otherwise, the NVIDIA driver will automatically decrease your FPS, and you don't wanna have it, because it's a big decrease in terms of the FPS. Buddy, where are you running? Where are you running, huh? What you got? You got some gun? Alright. Look at this. Not by too much increase in terms of our FPS, and everything right now running completely low, but as you can see, my GPU utilization below 95%, like 91, 92, and this is an example when we're not growing in terms of our FPS. So we decrease in terms of our GPU utilization, and the Turing GPU architecture top dock video cards such as Titan RTX loves to have maxed out in terms of our visuals, so we're going to stress at the maximum possible scenario, stress the GPU. It likes to be stressed completely above 95%. When, as you can see, 90%, when it's go to 90%, my FPS even drops below 100 FPS, and when it's going to go like to 60-70 percent of the GPU utilization, my FPS is going to drop dramatically. So it's not only about the FPS, it's about your GPU utilization, guys. It's very crucial. You want to be strategic. If you think you're not gonna play any other games, then get yourself. But at 4K, that VRAM utilization is very high, though. So I even don't know what to advise to you, because the Titan RTX is overpriced right now. It's the higher price than RTX 3090, but RTX 3090 is better video card in terms of the performance. I would say the RTX 3090 still will be great in this particular game at 4K resolution, but in a lot of games at 4K resolution, RTX 3090 will show you below 90% GPU utilization. It will be like 85, 82, and this will be the case when you're going to pretty much waste a lot of NVIDIA shader cores on that GPU, and you're not gonna release the maximum potential of your video card. So pretty much the RTX 3090, you want to use it as a single video card for only for few games, such as the Call of Duty Warzone, because, as again, it's not just because the GPU, it's just because the VRAM utilization is very high. Jesus, they were like in all corners. Still not 120 FPS, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to reach 120 FPS with the better CPU, with my gaming CPU, and I'm going to demonstrate it to you. When I'm going to play, I'm going to record the same 4K resolution with Titan RTX on the i9-9900K overclock at 5.3 GHz. Pretty sure we're gonna reach 120 FPS, because the boost up in terms of the performance of FPS will be at least 15%. I would say even like as minimum 15%, 15%. So that means that it's going to be like 125 probably FPS at 4K resolution on the same video card. Look at my CPU utilization, very high now. I just saw 40 and above 40. But as again, it still doesn't mean that you need to have more cores to have faster FPS, unless the CPU utilization will go above 90%, and you're gonna see it a lot during your gameplay. That means that just add additional threads 2 threads at least, but better to add the physical threads, which is the physical cores, for the maximum possible boost up. Otherwise you're going to be limited.
Grab some armor plates.
But VRAM utilization right now, when everything at low, the texture size and details is lower than at maximum. As you can see, below 10 gigabytes. That means that RTX 3080 or RTX 2080 Ti will be Gucci here, completely with the healthy.
Cash can be used at buy stations to buy kill streaks and other
Uh-oh, I got into the trap.
soldier incoming. That's gas.
Houston, Houston, no. Here we go, still alive.
Grab some armor plates.
As you can see, guys, you can play on an old school CPU. So if you're building all-in-one system workstation, this is a great thing. If you have the somewhere X79 motherboard, or you can get X79 motherboard for like below $50, this is going to be a great build. And you can overclock the CPU by overclocking the BCLK frequency. Additional 6 megahertz will boost you up to 200 megahertz per each core, which is great. This is exactly how you want to have it. Even 200 megahertz, at least 1 FPS probably boost, but still not bad. And I advise you to shut down the hyper threading technology when you're playing games, because as again 3.5 hyper threading threads is equal 1 physical thread. So this is how slow they are. So to have as fast as possible scenarios, shut it down and use only physical cores, physical threads for the best possible experience. Alright? And probably you're going to boost up over here if you're going to shut down the hyper threading technology threads or virtual cores, whatever you want to call them, by 2 FPS, I'm pretty sure. And you're going to lower the temperature on your CPU, but my CPU is running so cool. Today I'm running the Corsair H100i, and I believe this is the 3rd generation of the cooler with the RGB, which is great. This is how cool it is. But if I'm going to shut down the hyper threading technology, my CPU is going to go even cooler than that. The Xeon's E5 version 2 CPUs and version 3 CPUs, guys, are pretty cool CPUs, which is nice. Alright guys, that's it. That's pretty much it. I showed you everything what you need to know, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this gameplay. Keep in mind that, as again, I will try to record in 8K resolution and maybe 6K resolution on this workstation, and the same deal, 4K, 6K and 8K resolution probably on my gaming rig with the i9-9900K overclocked at 5.3 gigahertz. This is the both system that I was using in 2020. This computer was used as workstation, rendering farm, and my gaming rig with i9-9900K from 2018 was the fastest gaming rig. In 2020 it's not the fastest gaming rig because the AMD introduced in the end of the year the Ryzen 5000 series, but still I think I'm going to be as fast as Ryzen 5000 series running stock at least, because when my CPU of i9-9900K will be overclocked at 5.3 gigahertz, because that overclock is very amazing. Especially I can use the higher frequency DDR4 with very low latency delay, like I'm having on it right now, 3000 megahertz CL10 latency delay, CAS10 CL10 and DDR4 3000 megahertz. This is unheard of, and latency delay is much better than the frequency if you're trying to access the data as fast as possible. But if you like for 2 hours loading, offloading, loading, offloading, loading, offloading completely on all your system RAM, the data, then frequency will be much better, because frequency on DDR4 gonna give you that bitrate, the higher bitrate of that loading and offloading capacity. But the latency delay is how fast you can access the data. So if you're not loading a lot of data into your system RAM in PC games, you're not loading a lot of data into your system, just sometimes you're loading some data, and from the beginning, when it's loading the screen, it's loading a lot of data, but then when you're playing the game, it's not loading or floating a lot of data. So the latency delay, the lower as possible, will be benefiting you more than the higher frequency. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. I explained to you everything what you need to know. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys over the UHDking.com YouTube channel, or over the iPlay4K.com, or over the iPlay16K. Go ahead and check it out, subscribe, positive comments. Till the next time.